know it's kind of funny how a room full of things feels completely empty when you're not in the wings. How could I have known the fortune I would find, a peace deep in my bones, the beauty day and night. And you make anywhere feel like home. Home isn't where we live, it's living by your side. Oh, and I can't imagine any other way, the way our world needs your touch. You're touching every space, and how it makes any place feel like home. I guess I'm kinda lucky that when I hit a wall, 'cause you're the ground beneath it all. And you make anywhere feel like home. Home isn't where we live, it's living by your side. Oh, and I imagine any other way, the way our world needs your touch. You're touching every space, and now it makes me feel like home.
I ran all the way here, but now I can't see the reasons. I tried too hard to make a better reality, so I ran all the way here, just for the chance that you'd come to. can't buy the sour taste. I had to distract my heart, so